bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of The Bottom Line. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hopefully your weekend was fantastic. You've got us on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Clint, Matt, Ben here hanging out with you. We got this on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Curious, Sneed didn't show up today after those mangled calls last night, and then said, "Just kidding. Good to see/hear you, Matt." Player health is irrelevant in picking teams. Yeah, I agree.
It's actually, it's a metric though. I found that out today. Player availability for bowl games is a part of their decision making. So again, you're holding a team accountable because a player got injured.
Here's another dumb angle, and this is maybe just me sitting over here thinking this. It's funny that all of us note like, hey, Jordan Travis, you're a lot better with him than you are without him. But like, what would they do? And I'm not here hoping for this. I'm not here wishing for this. But what would they do, say, if in one of the practices leading up to this game, like Jalen Milroe like tore his ACL or something, or a non-contact injury and then was out for the playoff? Like, they should be able to just be like, well, you know what? We take it back. We're bumping you out. You're gone.
No, it's like I said, the narrative. And
that's not even the biggest argument towards it. It's just another dumb, like the health part is so stupid because it's something you can't control. And when you take care of everything else that you can control, which is so hard on every single level of college football and Division I sports, and you don't get the credit for it, it makes you lose your credibility. And even as you expand, does anybody trust the college football playoff committee? Everyone already had the feelings of, well, just the TV networks are going to help define this anyways, and logos are going to help define this. If you were arguing against that, this just took away like all of your ammunition towards that argument, because everyone's going to be suspicious and everyone should be.
I think that all the conferences outside of the SEC, I know the Pac-12 is gone, but the Big 12, the Big 10, and the ACC should. I think that it speaks volume that the committee is really telling y'all, hey, y'all are all big conferences, but the SEC is always going to be king to y'all. Mm-hmm. So just so y'all know that, we made that clear this year. We made that clear, and going into a 12-team playoff, we're just going to tell y'all there's probably going to be 3 spots reserved every year for SEC, if not more. Good luck, though. We did just make it to 12, but we're going to give 20% of that to the SEC. And that's to me what they're showing is that we're going to handpick every year.
That's another thing, too, is like we've talked about after this year, right? After this year, the term Power 5 is dead because there's not going to be a Power 5. The committee told you that was already dead. Like there was not, because when you think of Power 5, you think everyone that has a seat at the table, when really they're saying, well, ACC, sorry, you're really more at the kids' table.
Yeah.
So, it's the adults are the SEC and the Big 10, and then, Big 12, ACC, I think even, Pac-12 for this year, because Pac-12 is clearly going away. You guys, just make sure you're not drawing anything inappropriate on the tablecloth over there with the crayons we give you.
That's right.
So they're telling you it's already dead.
Yeah.
This from Juan, I'm with you, Matt. Totally agree. Also said the committee just wants a hopeful rematch, and it is disgraceful. T-Money said next year we will have 6 SEC teams and 4 Big 10 teams, plus 2 at large in the playoffs. Yeah, and again, I know you're expanding, but this doesn't make you trust them, because on one side it's like, well, there's more room for error because there's 12 teams, right? But
yeah, you're expanding how many SEC teams you can get in is all you're doing. Mm-hmm. That's what you're showing. Yeah, it's just
this from Bullfighter. Forget the Wii games. I'm going to hook Matty Ice up with this gem of a board game that he can play while watching all the bowl games with his Florida State friends. Just kidding. Florida State got screwed, and I agree with y'all. Anger management. What's your problem is the game.
Yeah. I think most people believe that Florida State, I don't think I'm in the minority to think that Florida State got hosed. Outside of people, living in Tuscaloosa or people living in Austin, everybody else would probably agree that Florida State got absolutely bamboozled in this whole deal. So, and like I said, I just feel bad for the players. I really do. I feel that you just slapped them all in the face. And that's my biggest issue with this, is that those guys, those seniors that busted their tail all year and they've gotten to finally where they are the perfect team, you just told them, hey, it doesn't really matter how hard you work. We are the sayers of what goes on.
I'm not even like, I have typically disliked Florida State. I've talked about this with Jamie. An irrational dislike of Florida State ever since like the Chris Winkie Seminole team.
How do you dislike work?
Because I was such a huge Michael Vick fan when he was in college. And he was like one of the first non-fandom college football players I attached to. Okay. So as a kid, when you lose that national championship game, in my mind, I'm like, those big meanie head Florida State bullies. Let the guy I was rooting for win. That kind of stupid hate, and then didn't like the Jameis Winston team. All of that
I didn't like. I'll agree.
All of that has just been an irrational dislike of Florida State. And still I'm going here like, you seemingly gave them a blueprint. And not just them, they're just the ones that are in this situation right now. You gave every Power 5 team a blueprint of, in this condensed college football playoff that isn't a playoff with 4 teams and then 5 major conferences. Forget about any good teams that might be outside of the Power 5. You seemingly gave every team in those conferences a blueprint. And then we knew this was going to be the year with the biggest controversy, because we were talking all this week leading up to it. It's like, this is the first time you've had 8 teams that will have a legitimate case of saying, at least should be listened to, of why they should be in the 4-team playoff.
Yeah.
And then Florida State was the one that checked off the most boxes outside of Michigan and outside of Washington. And they didn't just get jumped by 1 team. They got jumped by 2. That's the biggest thing to me. They got jumped twice.
And it's not even... It's not even that outside of those 2 teams, equally to those Michigans and Washington teams, they all did the same thing. They went undefeated and they won their conference. And I think that, truthfully, Florida State now is in a lose-lose situation, right? Because if I was a betting man, yes, I would say that I think Georgia will absolutely beat Florida State. I think that's I don't know what the spread is if they have one yet, but I would assume
15-point spread, I believe, for Georgia. It's a big number.
So then it goes back to the whole argument. Well, it's not the most deserving; it's the best 4 teams. Okay, then why even play a season? Why even have rankings? Is what my biggest thing would be. Why don't you just say, hey, week 1 is this team versus this team? Well, what are they? We don't do rankings no more, because at the end of the season we'll just pick. This is literally the BCS all over again, but with 4 teams. Not, hey, here's your 2 teams. We're going to pick these 2. Now it's just, hey, we're going to pick these 4 teams. Rankings are irrelevant. And I do, like I said, Florida State is definitely a different team without their quarterback. But any given Saturday, the term is any given Sunday, anybody can beat anybody. That's just how it is. And Florida State's defense is good enough to shut a team down for 4 quarters. I don't know if they could do that 2 games in a row and win. But they could do it. We've seen Texas struggle. We've seen Alabama struggle. We've seen
recently too.
Yes,
recently.
So to say Florida State couldn't go in there and beat somebody, I think is crazy. Like I said, it's just tough to hear and tough to watch.
So you said a phrase in there that's been thrown around a lot, and I think just is another extra backhand in the face of the Seminoles, and that's okay. When you're deciding between best and you're deciding between deserving. This is a term that even like when they would talk to people from the playoff committee would use. It's like, well, you had to decide between best and deserve. So who deserves it then, and you still don't, like, that's such an extra slap. Can we just not use the term deserving then, because it builds them up even more? Just to like be like, by the way, while you're still, on the outside looking in and you have this huge wound, we're just going to like dump a bucket full of salt right in it.
Yeah.
Let that sting a little bit more.
Yeah.
Florida State. Like, that is so stupid, because it says who should be in. But still, you got to have the SEC. You got to have the SEC.
That's right.
This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Not surprising, the committee talking out of both sides of their mouth. Succeeding even with injured players makes that team more appealing, a better overall team. And I agree. Yeah.
The narrative, man.
This Team Money 806 said, if you don't think that they will manipulate the poll rankings next year with expanded playoffs to skew top 8 to SEC and Big Ten, then I have a ski lodge to sell you on Quaker Avenue. No, I think they will, but like it's like at least you know if you're the Big 12 and you're the ACC, that you next year for sure will have a team in with the way that it's set up. Like your conference champion will be in the expanded playoff. But I do agree. I mean, I think you're just another sign of, hey, yeah, you're going to have a lot of SEC and a lot of Big Ten in the 12 team.
Would they have done this? One thing I saw, and we might have to get to it on the other side. Would they have done this if this was Clemson undefeated?
Oh.
Or would they have?
Because you got some recent history there.
Oh, you have a well-known coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's the bottom line 100.7 the score.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is the Bottom Line, 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Thank you for joining us here on a Monday. Keep getting plenty of your thoughts and comments that are rolling in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Also, if you call the Visual Edge IT hotline, that number is 806-771-0973. Ben will have what a defined 64-team field tournament would look like for college football this year. He's gone in depth. He even has odds for all 32 games that would be played. It's awesome.
He hadn't slept. He's been doing it all night.
He hasn't slept. He looks like the History Channel meme of the guy that's like got aliens and his hair's all. Yeah.
Man, what a transfer portal that has already jump-started.
So the position that leads the clubhouse of interest is quarterback, right? I think it's shocking to me, and I can't believe at this point with it, I'm still using the word shocking. But Matt Rule came out like a month ago or whatever and said, hey, like the going rate is for a prime transfer portal quarterback would be 1.5 to 2 million in NIL, like just flat out said it. And you kind of knew the Uyungleleles who were, hey, he's going to be in the portal. The Tyler Shutt from your program, he's going to be in the portal. Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina, who I think will be a pretty Riley Leonard for Duke. Like you had guys that this was already a stacked class, and then the portal opens up today.
Will
Howard's a great one. I did not have either Dylan Gabriel or McCord from Ohio State on my transfer portal bingo card. And that's crazy because like they had great seasons, right? And if you're Oklahoma, you're going over to the SEC, and I don't know what the situation is. Maybe this is from them, like, hey, we kind of thought you were going to the NFL this year regardless. We really want to get Jackson Austin in. We kind of have a lot of money. Like, I don't know what that situation is. But, like, Ohio State, for McCord, like, you were the dude at a huge program.
Do you think that has any signs or anything going back to Rondé possibly leaving?
I see it, and I don't know if there's unease there or if there's...
Or maybe he's just money hungry. He's like, hey,
who knows? There's so many different things that like extra layers when you get to these major programs, right? Because maybe they got someone coming in there. They're like, we'd really like to see him for 3 or 4 years from the game, or like, hey, your spot really isn't set here. So
we already paid this freshman to come in. So
like who? I mean, he had to battle for that spot this year. That wasn't set.
Yeah.
When it came, to the start of the year, and he was the guy that sat behind Stroud for 2 years. And so who
killing it in the NFL.
There's like all these extra questions of the why, but man. And also the where does a McCord type guy end up that seemingly from the outside has everything you could want if you're a Division I quarterback, right?
Power 5, check. Winning, check.
Yeah, like you would think a pretty good NIL deal up there. Check.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I like that.
Give him credit. Sorry. And so like where's he gonna go? Like where does he end up that doesn't feel like a lateral move or maybe even a step down?
But where do you go that's not a step down? I mean, there's very few schools that you're going to say, okay, they're on the same caliber of Ohio State. I mean, there's 5 schools.
Yeah. Gabriel to Ohio State, McCord to Oklahoma.
Good chance it could happen.
Like the transfer portal is such a mess.
Oregon State and Washington State losing any players doesn't shock me because they're just stuck in the mud right now with all the conference
Which both of their quarterbacks. That's another one.
That's what I'm saying. Ward. Yeah. But with the whole conference realignment, they're on the outside looking in. It doesn't shock me if they have a ton of transfers come out and just pretty much deplete the team. And it's sad to see that because the universities need to. They had relatively good seasons. They had good high rankings coming into the season, both of them. But it doesn't shock me to see both of those guys come out because they want to play for a big conference is what it looks like. Somewhere where they have a chance to have more spotlight.
Sure. Yeah. And again, there's it's not just like one reason and for every single, and not just quarterback, but for every single player that enters his name in the portal and transfers, but it's not fun. The opposite of fun. It's just kind of gross sometimes, depending on the guy, like what you're trying to decipher as we like sit here and try to read tea leaves of, well, we think it's like this, unless they flat out say, yeah, I went from school A to school B because I was getting more money there, or I went from school A to school B because I didn't know if I was going to have my spot next year, and they told me at school B I was going to have that spot, or school B's going to put me in the NFL a little bit better than what I think school. And even then, if they come out and say it, you're going to be sitting there, okay, but what else? Right? There's always going to be questions, and unless you are in the inner circle, the family that's having these conversations with, your son or brother, whatever he may be to you, you're never going to know the full reasons. But man, it kind of waters down
it's
the sport a lot.
Without being a fly on the wall in those rooms, as you just talked about. I mean, similar to the committee, it's just about the money. I'm just hard to convince. You have guys that are starting at major programs leaving. It's about the money. You couldn't convince me otherwise unless I was in there. And like you said, they came out and said, hey, McCord, we got a freshman that we think is going to. We've already declared him the starter next year, and you've got a high hill to follow to be able to claim that. It's got to be about the money. Hey, this is the market's hot. Just enter the transfer portal and go get your $2 or $3 million. You might not be NFL caliber talent right now, so $2 or $3 million could set you financially for life after you get out of school.
But then, like the money side from, again, this is what confuses me even more. The money side from like an Ohio State, like what they're not a program that's invested. Like they're not rolling around some deep pockets up in Columbus. Like
of course they are.
And so, what's the combination there of like, oh, we don't want to, we already had you for this number this year. We're not going to go up on it because we feel, there's the combination of we feel this guy behind you. We can do the same rate we just did this year. Now you're like, which is, I mean, it's a business. It is what it is as of now. But you are having business talks, like contract type talks, because it's what it is with these major quarterbacks and, I mean, skill players too, and major pieces for college football. It's just I don't think I expected the amount of rising up to like players that were having success at blue blood type schools. If it was like a 6-6 Ohio State team or something like that,
that makes all the sense in the world.
You wouldn't be having these questions, but you were a game away from playing in the Big 12 championship and going to the playoff yourself, and you would seem like you're pretty well set up to keep on doing that. So I don't know. That's what the rise in position to success to major program like equation that you've seen this year early in the portal, and it's not even done. It's just the first day.
Maybe Dylan Gabriel wants to stay in the Big 12. Oh.
Dylan Gabriel to Oklahoma State.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Clint Scott, Jamie Lent, Ben Poorman. We got this on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. You can hit us up there as well. The 49ers did to Philly what should have happened to them every game since and including their game versus Dallas. Boo! Boo! I did think it was interesting that going into that matchup, because of course it's at Philadelphia, that the 49ers were any sort of favorite. Not that I thought like the Eagles should have been, Philly by 10 or something like that, but the 49ers were on the road, and the Eagles have just found a way, even though they've played in close games against good competition, they've just kept finding ways to win games.
Mm-hmm.
And then, boy, I was surprised that Philadelphia was favored. I was very surprised that they just blew them out at home.
As far as being favored, yeah, definitely a little surprised, but thought that they were good enough to win that game. But the fact that it turned into a blowout, I just did not think that Philly's defense would allow that to happen. And really, I mean, offense wasn't good, but man, how many missed tackles for the Eagles yesterday? It felt like just short plays turned into huge plays because they just didn't finish on defense.
And defensively, that's been something that they've been pretty good at. I mean, they've got a fast defense and a athletic defense, and it doesn't feel like something that they've been really good at that's kept them in games is kind of containing some of those short plays that turn into big plays. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you're right. I mean, San Francisco, it's still crazy to me. And I know that they had a few injuries, but just to tell you how weird the NFL is, that their 3-game slump where we started like seeing questions about them. Are they a legitimate Super Bowl contender? And the wave of just how long a 17-game season is and how different you can be in different stretches of it. But the fact that they go from just pounding the Cowboys at home to 3 straight losses, and those losses coming to the Browns, the Vikings, and the Bengals, who now you look at the Browns, the Vikings, and the Bengals, especially the Bengals going, what's happening over there?
But for a while there, the Bengals were playing like the best team in football.
Right. And again, like the swirls from the other side too. But it's just you're back now. And as far as the NFC goes, and more to the interest level of Cowboys and Cowboy fans, of course you'll have Philadelphia on Sunday, so you can help yourself out there. But I mean, that top seed now wide open. And for the 49ers, if you're looking at the rest of their schedule, they've got a very interesting game against the Seahawks next, and then they'll go to Arizona, who did find a way to just beat Pittsburgh. Yeah. But then they have the Ravens, so that'll be a tough game. Of course, that is at home. And then they have Washington, and then they have the Rams. For the Eagles, they have, after you, then they go to Seattle, and then past that, they have the benefit of having the Giants twice.
It's nice.
Which is very nice, with a buffer game of the Cardinals at home in between there. Yeah, that's just still crazy to me. Like, could we not, and they're not the only team that has this kind of sandwich, but could we not separate it out a little bit better where it's not New York, Arizona, New York, and these? I would hate it from both sides.
NFL scheduling is. I've always felt like, when they're trying to. It seems like some teams throughout and I know the better record, the tougher your schedule is going to be or whatever. But I don't know. I just feel like NFL scheduling has always been confusing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
Like some teams are just so incredibly, like every week it's loaded with tough games, and other teams every week. Remember we used to rag on Jackson about his Eagles schedule a couple years ago and how easy it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Kick rocks, Philly boy.
Yeah, it was so incredibly easy.
Yeah. But, past you, we'll see about the Seahawks, but if you are trying to still contend in the division and get either a bye if you were somehow to get the 1 seed, which again, it's a lot closer than what it was a week ago.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you're 1 win away from, starting to worry about tiebreakers and all that good stuff.
But just being the division winner, we've talked about this, I think is massive. For the Cowboys.
Yes, because you don't have to go to Philly, to San Fran to get to the Super Bowl.
And I think, especially the way that you've been playing of late, you are fairly put into that triangle of it feels like if it's not these 3 teams of Philadelphia, Dallas, and San Francisco, it's going to be a major upset, maybe a couple of major upsets of who represents the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think it'll be one of those 3 teams. I don't know yet if I'm ready to put the Cowboys there. I mean, they played so well against Philadelphia on the road. Mm-hmm. That's what says, yes, they deserve to be there. But otherwise, you've played the Cowboy schedule has been either really tough or super, super easy. And so I just don't know. Feels like the Cowboys playing a lot better than they were at the beginning of the season, but I'm anxious to see what it looks like when they go through this next stretch.
And like you look at, again, the next stretch you're talking about, as we talked about first, the Eagles and the 49ers, you have the toughest one by far. And so I guess you have the opportunity to be there because you're going to have to earn your way through it to be in that kind of heralded, I guess, corner of the triangle. But you also need those wins, starting off with Philadelphia, but you need those wins at Buffalo. You need that win at Miami. You need that win against a good Detroit team just to keep pace. And as much as I believe in the NFL as such a tough place to beat teams in and out, and that's why it's tough to go undefeated and tough to even have like 1 or 2 losses on the schedule, I still wouldn't like putting fate in the hands of the Eagles dropping a game over their opponents.
No, I agree.
Like, it's hard to say, like, hey, maybe the Giants will get them once out of those 3 weeks. Maybe. Let's go to Vito.
Yeah, maybe if the whole Eagles team gets flu.
So I guess I should rephrase that you have the opportunity to earn your way to that respect.
But you're going to have to play really, really well. And if you do, I mean, at that point, you're going to have to say, man, this Cowboys team has taken a big step forward.
We're going to be saying, like, I don't think there's a middle option. We're going to be saying one of 2 things. We're going to go, wow, they are actually feel like they're legit this year. Or we're going to go into that kind of cliche, same old Cowboys, but they can't beat the good teams.
Yeah.
They can crush the Washingtons. They can demolish the Carolinas, but they see a San Francisco and they don't even know how to buckle their pants.
I just wish it was more balanced for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think Cowboys fans do too.
Yeah. Probably so.
Yeah. This from Red Raider 2 Guns. QB in the portal or roll with what we have currently? Well, I would like to see you add an arm. I don't know if I'm...
That's like a baseball term.
Oh,
an arm.
That's true.
We need a left-handed arm for the bullpen.
Yeah, we need a real slugger for the team this year.
I definitely, if you have the opportunity to grab a veteran that could possibly be your backup, I would absolutely jump at that. I don't like the thought of heading into next season with one quarterback with serious experience. I know Jake Strong had some, but not a lot. And
do we like saying that with him though? Because usually you say experience, you think of some success in there.
Well, he had a bad experience. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he showed some good things.
I'm not trying to bury him.
Yeah.
I'm just. I completely agree with you. You have to have another arm. I'm going to say it again. Sorry. Another quarterback that you have some sort of confidence in. And I'm not saying like, you're going after the Uyunglele's out there, or the McCords, or the Gabriels,
Good,
but someone that
I don't want to spend a whole season trying to pronounce his name.
Yeah. But you need someone behind him because, again, how confident will you be with Jake Strong next year, or even Hammond coming in, who has no college football experience? Again, glad to have him and excited about like Hammond's future for you. But show me the last time that you haven't had to lean on someone competent or capable.
Right. So I guess what I'm saying is, if Dylan Gabriel wants to come be Baron Morton's backup, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Probably not for the price tag. Probably not paying that much for a backup. That's the nice thing about the portal is you have 1.5 billion quarterbacks in it. Yeah. So
I've never been all that impressed with Dylan Gabriel. I'm not saying he's not good. He is. But.
He's first team All Big 12.
Yeah, well.
Pal. Building him a statue at Oklahoma until he left. It's the bottom line, 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It's time for the fastest growing game show in the world, Take versus Take. You've got the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. A Monday edition. Ben and I are going head to head. He looks focused, intense. There's a fire behind those eyes, which means DJ Jamie.
Wicka, wicka, wicka.
Go DJ. Oh, that's my DJ. DJ Jamie has our questions. Ben, was I accurate with describing you that way? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Question number 1 for you gentlemen, or our fine listening audience. What is something in sports that you wonder, why don't teams do this? Or why don't players do that anymore?
Oh, do it anymore?
Yeah, why don't they do this? Or why don't they, like, for example, the coffin kick, an angled punt.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see teams angle punt against a great kick returner or punt returner anymore. I mean, just hardly ever. Okay?
Ooh, man.
Ooh,
Ching, ching, walla walla, bing bang.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go to basketball, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't be working at the 3 because that's what the game has gone to, right? It's either at the block or it's a 3, and really when you get to the NBA level, that's all it is, often like that, and that's again like the analytic. That's what the numbers will tell you to do, whatever. But the fact
the lost art of the mid-range jumper.
Yes, no, and like there's still a place for that in the game. It's last time I checked, that's still worth 2 points.
It is,
and it's still, as of now, because you're not used to it as much and it goes out of the game. It should be easier to find those shots, but it feels like it is muddled down, and that skill is just gone. Like Jimmy Butler feels like a rarity because he's one that can do it and still utilizes it. And guess what? Jimmy Butler's a really good player. Got one of the best in the NBA.
Yeah. No, it's they used to, analyze players or judge players on can he score at all 3 levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay? That's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're like, can he score in 2 and remember not to use the other level?
Well, it's taking away a scoring outlet for you, right? Because it's what the book says to do.
Sure, you're trying to get past that first level and then
it's ruling
get a shot up before the big man gets to you.
Completely ruling out, like, I don't know how many square feet of floor space when you go around the arc. I'm not a mathematician, but it's a lot.
Okay, Ben.
Yeah, that's a really good answer, Clint. I'm going to go basketball as well. First of all, guys will have fast break during the game. They won't even go to the basket. They're getting from behind the arc and just trying to pull up a 3 and hope it goes in. I'm like, what happened for an easy lay-in?
Yeah.
And the second one is how the game of the big man has diminished from the game. Like, you don't see a lot of Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaqs, David Robinsons, Dikembe Mutombos, Rick Smits, Patrick Ewings, Lonzo Mournings, those guys being the focal point of the game, guys that dominated, that knocked those who drove to the basket on their derrieres, and I miss those days.
Yeah. So neither one of you guys said the sky hook. Just kidding. I think it's too low percentage of a shot, but it was cool. I like both of your answers. I'm going to go with Clint because I'm a guy that has an appreciation for the mid-range game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice little show and go. You like that?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay, you know what that is?
No.
Ball fake. Get them off their feet, one dribble, pull up.
Oh, okay.
Show and go. Okay.
Sounds like a Pistol Pete move there.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'm a big fan of that. So I'm going to give Clint the point on that one. You know what my answer would have been? Okay, and this is something that's not done before, and maybe it's starting to happen a little bit, and I hate it. I hate that I'm going to answer this way. One of the things that like drives me nuts somewhat in basketball is you'll see a guy drive in, right, and he's not even really looking to score. Mm-hmm. He's just clearly just trying to create contact. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is like, come on, just go to the rim. He's like jumping into the defender and all that. And you're like, no, just go to the rim. Go finish. Okay. I wonder why more wide receivers. Let's say you're running down the field. The pass is a little bit underthrown. The defensive back has not turned back. Just stop and let him run you over. Especially in the NFL where that's where the ball's placed. It's not a 15-yard penalty like it is in college. Just stop. Let him truck you.
Yeah.
He can run right through your chest, and they're going to have to throw flags unless it's the guys in the OU-OSU game. Okay? Just stop.
Yeah.
As he has his back, his head is away from the quarterback. He's looking straight at you. Just let him run through you.
And like the ones that realize, because there's a lot that utilize that, you can see that a mile as soon as it like leaves the quarterback's hands on some play, and it's one of those like, okay, you can tell that's underthrown. The smart ones do, like the smart receivers do.
So I feel like I've seen a little bit of that. Yeah, where they're drawing the contact. So, anyways, that would have been my answer. I hate that they're kind of faking a little bit, but
well, in basketball,
smart part of the game.
To me, there's almost nothing funnier if it's against the team that you're not rooting for, that you're playing, when they do that and they don't call it because the shot's never anywhere close. Yeah. Half the time it doesn't even hit anything and it like rolls out of bounds, and then they have a tantrum.
No, the best is in high school basketball when somebody tries to draw a charge and they don't touch them. And they still fall down.
Yeah.
That's the best. That cracks me up to no end. All right, 1-0 Clint has the lead. Question number 2. Fill in the blank, Ben. This can be anywhere, all over the spectrum. You have to fill in the blank. I hate it when people
pay for inexpensive items with a credit card. Like holding up the line, getting approved for Tic Tacs, trying to pay 18% interest.
Hey, man, I'm trying to get my Cabela's points over there. Stop calling me out, dude.
Trying to get approved for a bag of cheese puffs. You kidding me?
Ben's about to fight someone.
Okay, Clint?
I'm going to say cough or sneeze without guarding their arms like a toddler and spreading their germs into the world. Like they are now doing some sort of mucus-based concert. It's like, are you 2? Are you 2 years old? And look, every once in a while, like a sneeze will come up on you. But like the ones that you can tell, and they're doing the full kid face too. Like they're doing the weird, like they kind of look like a goose, kind of like swirling their tongue for some reason, and like putting their head back, and like they're loading it up. What are you doing?
Oh goodness! Oh, that was great. Yeah, Ben's gonna get the answer. I just like the passion that he had over the Tic Tacs, and I'll even say this: I feel like it's almost faster now for people to use a credit card.
Yeah,
because some people are slow with the wallet and the counting out and of the bills, and the person behind the register can't count.
I was gonna say they're not used to it. It's like they didn't train me for this.
Yes,
they didn't say I'd have to count cash back.
Yes. All right, so we're tied at 1.
I do like to watch the face, though. If I see someone in front of me use cash, just to see their reaction. Because I would think 85% of the time there's at least a slight eye roll. Like,
yeah. Oh, you'll really get it if you're say your item is 802, and you give them 1005. I mean, mind blown. Why would he give me this nickel? 10 is enough. I don't understand. Some sort of epileptic seizure is about to take place. Okay. All right, final question. All right, college football playoff style. You all right over there?
Just like it's turning like they're possessed and their head just starts spinning.
College football playoff style. I need you to give me the top 4 players that have played for Joey McGuire at Texas Tech during the McGuire era. Seed them 1 through 4. Who wins the championship?
Can I go first?
Why don't you both think about it, and we'll let you answer after the break. Top 4
That's
players.
Fair. That's fair.
In the McGuire era at Texas Tech. So 2 years.
2
years.
2 years.
2 years.
There you go. 2 years. You can let us know your answers as well on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. And also thoughts and comments and all that. Ben and I will dwell, we'll plan, we'll go to the drawing board, we'll think our hardest. Think. Come back and we will decide this game of take versus take. So we are tied. It's bottom line 100.7 the score.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
We're really festive in the break. We partially got up you and I together, just you and I.
One half.
Partially up a decoration.
Yeah, no help from anyone else. Just you and I, Clint.
Yeah, we just decided.
Yes.
Yeah. Clint Scott, Jamie Lent, Ben Poorman.
There were not people crawling on their knees in here.
Christmas elves. It's the
Christmas
season.
elves.
Tis the season.
They're matching green sweaters.
Speaking of which, I know we have take versus take final one, but just real quick. Okay. I was in one of my favorite stores over the weekend that has a Santa where you can go and take pictures. And there wasn't even remotely a line yet. And there was like no kids in the store. So I was like, what do you do with your downtime? He was just sitting there like playing on his phone.
Was he?
Googling song lyrics, or what are we doing over there?
He was checking his list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's now an e-list. It makes sense.
Yes.
Has it emailed to him.
Yes.
All right, take versus take is up for grabs. Ben and I are tied. Would you reset the final question?
All right, final question. College football playoff style.
Mm-hmm.
I need the top 4 players that have played at Texas Tech during the McGuire era. I need you to seed them, have 2 semifinals, the national championship game, and a winner.
So I lied to you. I said I was going all defense.
Okay.
And I backed out of it.
Okay.
Well, it would have been 1 special teams and 3 defense.
And you guys can have the same players. Mm-hmm. That's allowed.
I'm going to go Tyree Wilson 1 as the 1st seed. Austin McNamara as the 2 seed. Going Taj Brooks as the 3 seed. And Dadrion Taylor-Demerson as the 4 seed. So it's going to be in the actual... Do I pick the winner, or is it just the seeding like that?
Yeah, keep going.
I'm going to have an upset with the lower seeding win of Taj Brooks, the 3 seed, beating McNamara, the 2 seed, and then getting beat by Tyree Wilson in the national championship game as far as best players in the McGuire era.
Okay. Ben?
So with my seeding, I'm going to go with Taj Brooks at the 1, Tyree Wilson at the 2, Rabbit, Dadrion Taylor-Demerson at the 3, and Ben Roberts at the 4.
Okay.
And I, for one, have an upset with Ben Roberts as your leading tackler and co-defensive freshman of the year in the Big 12 to go over Rabbit and face Taj Brooks in the championship. And I got Taj Brooks winning it all.
Clint gets the point. The only difference that we had is I have Taj as the 2 seed and Austin as the 3 seed. So I would have had Taj winning as the favorite and losing to Tyree in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
So you and I were almost
there.
Identical. That's embarrassing for me.
That is embarrassing for you.
Your take versus take winner today is Clintonia Scott.
Suck it, suck it, suck it. Thank you. Yeah, I usually congratulate
I like the Ben Roberts though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see.
And no, not because we have the same name.
If that's a good reason not to.
Mm-hmm.
was trying to think. There wasn't anyone like hanging around in the bottom ranks that never saw the field with first name Clint, so that wouldn't have been a problem for me anyways. I am excited though to see, like, if we ask this question again in 2 years from now, like how high Ben Roberts for me might climb, because he's not there yet in that top 4, but he's, I think, fair in the conversation piece, and I don't knock you for putting him there, but yeah, like how high for like the general consensus can he climb? Because as far as his first foot forward is a big one, and you needed it. You needed him too.
No doubt.
You really needed him too.
Excited about the linebacking cores next year.
Oh yeah, I mean, because he didn't even get a full year of like Jacob Rodriguez, because
those two together for the next couple of years should be fun.
Yeah, terrors the linebacker spot.
Terrors.
This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. There's still 3 levels of scoring. The third is just the free throw line now.
I'm a fan of that level as well.
Mm-hmm. That is a good point. Like, you go, especially from the NBA side. I mean, that's what James Harden has made a living off of. Yeah, is getting to the free throw line and then being efficient from there.
I'm a fan of being efficient, not high volume shooters. Mm-hmm. We don't need guys scoring 15 points on 23 shots.
Yeah. Yeah, efficient being
get to the free throw line
there. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, Michael from the Ranch says, is the double T97.3 / 100.7 the score Florida State fan / unofficial expert. I will say that if Florida State beats Georgia in the Orange Bowl, they have every right to claim the national title and hang a banner and have rings made. Go Seminoles.
I mean, they can do that. I mean, the rest of college football is going to laugh at them, but they're welcome to do it.
Florida State.
I'd be so mad if I was an FSU fan.
Yes.
Gosh, I can't even imagine. Can you imagine if that was Tech?
Oh,
I mean,
the city might burn to the ground.
We would all lose our mind. Understandably so.
Broadway would be destroyed.
So frustrating.
As rational as this fan base is.
Yeah. I think I would have burnt a scooter.
Oh. Well, I would like to see that clearly, because I'd like to see you in the 13-0 position, but I would like to see you burn the scooter.
Me personally.
Yeah. How would you do it? What steps would you take?
I would stick some kindling wood in between like spokes and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I would light them on fire. I would light it on fire. So, I mean, it would burn for a while, right? Mm-hmm. And then I would hop on the scooter and I would just drive around campus with the scooter burning to the ground as I was riding on it.
Yeah. You'd literally be on fire.
Yes. That's what I would do.
I like that you would be riding.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Feels like you could have done it easier without like the kindling. Kind of like you were a step away from like using one of the Pharaoh rods. I'm so angry. And I'm just so mad. You guys wait in 10 to 15 minutes. This fire is going to be huge.
I'd also be carrying a sign that said, I blame choice.
All right. We're just going to make Jamie keep asking questions. Time for a question of the day.
Time now for Jamie's question of the day.
Okay, here's my question for you today, Clintonius and Benjamin. Of the 9 Big 12 bowl games,
Benjamin,
I like that. Which bowl game do you feel like is going to be the most entertaining?
Ooh.
Which matchup do you like the best?
So these are tough because it's like, okay, well, who's all playing? Who all's going to show up? Who all's going to actually be on these rosters?
Mm-hmm.
And I would have told you before the Dylan Gabriel news, the Oklahoma-Arizona game. Now, this may still be my answer because I think Jackson Arnold will do just fine taking snaps there for Oklahoma. I think they'll miss some sort of beat, but not like a big misstep or anything like that. It's hard for me not, though, to take the biggie out of them all because I think Texas and Washington is going to be an outstanding game. I've seen some go Well, great. On top of it, you just gave Texas a national championship berth. Look, I know they blew you out, and then they blew out Oklahoma State. But Washington's a different animal. And they were a 9-point underdog to Oregon.
Yeah. Hey, let's take that one out of the mix since it's a college football playoff game.
Fine. All right.
What a just toddler.
Yeah, I'm going to stick, though, with Oklahoma and Arizona.
Okay.
Because I think Oklahoma is still going to have a lot of talent that will play in that game, and I think Arizona's really pumped to be in that game and with that matchup. I also like that it's outgoing Big 12 with incoming Big 12.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Ben?
I was going to go with that bowl at first, but then I realized the Fiesta Bowl with Oregon and Liberty.
No, It's got to be a Big 12 one.
Oh, Big 12 one?
Oh, he's projecting Liberty will come into the Big 12. Realignment next week. Here comes Jamie Chadwell.
You can save your answer for when we come back if you want.
Yeah, I'm still browsing right now, come to think of it. Now that it's conversations towards Big 12, yeah, I need a bit.
I know the one that I won't watch. The Houston or the Texas Bowl with Orange Aggie and Maroon Aggie. It'll be a beatdown. I think K-State and NC State is the matchup that I like.
I'm so bitter towards bowl games right now.
Yeah, there's some truth to that.
I just am.
Except the Independence Bowl is going to be great.
The Independence Bowl is going to be great. The Guaranteed Rate Bowl is going to be a blowout, though, from the Big 12 school that's in it. So that's why it's the bottom line for 100.7 The Score.
This has been the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 100-7thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.